Well, this is Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and as our lives continue to evolve around technology and social media, eating disorders are affecting more and more people, no matter their age, gender, or background. Joining us live this morning for more on this conversation is Kyla Fox, an eating disorder specialist and master's level clinician. Kyla, I appreciate you joining us, to talk about something so important here, and the distinction in the introduction right away. This isn't, a lot of people assume eating disorders, it must be young tween and teenage girls. It's far beyond that, isn't it?
It is. I think ultimately what we have to remember is that most every person in some capacity is preoccupied with food in their body. Mm-hmm. Like all of us in some ways of like, how much do you eat? When do you eat? How much should you exercise? You're tracking your Fitbit. You're looking at your calories. Yeah. We're consumed by messages all the time. Yeah. And acute eating disorders start there. And so we want to be really mindful when we're thinking about prevention that we're really aware of all of this information and preoccupation that we're taking in all the time.
And because we're taking it in all the time, it may be hard to spot that, I assume, Kyla, because, when we are all kind of thinking about things along those lines, how do you kind of there might be something there. I'm a little concerned.
I think it's a good question because I think we're so used to thinking about these things that we don't actually, as you said, realize the impact. Like how many people wake up in the morning and jump on a box to see a number and it dictates the way that you feel about yourself, your sense of confidence or the shame that you feel or what you think you need to do to change the way that you are. And so part of what I think we need to be really conscious of is how much of this space in your mind is this taking up? How much are you thinking about what you're eating? How much are you thinking about what your body looks like? Are you comfortable with yourself? And I think that's a really, really important starting point.
So you're talking about sort of reflecting as someone who understands what they're thinking about, but in a child's mind, we both have children in that 9, 10, 11, 12 range there. I don't think they necessarily could say, like if I asked, Jack or Elle, how much do you think about your body? I'm not sure they would necessarily be able to answer that question very well. So as a parent, we need to give them positive messages. Like what kind of things can we do to help them, I suppose, not focus on that so much?
Well, I think part of what's really important as parents is being able to talk to your kids about feelings. Because I think the way that we treat ourselves with food in our body is really a deeper piece around our sense of self, our confidence. And so we really want to create open space with our kids to be able to understand what they're going through, recognize how they feel about themselves, and also I think generally modeling what it means to come together around food and make food feel fun and safe and connected beyond just the eating, but also around being close to people.
What about getting help? I mean, really, if there's an issue here, how difficult is it to get yourself help, your children help, if you think or if they have a disorder?
I think that nowadays it's really, really important to work with experts who really understand eating disorders. I think it's critical that if someone you love has an eating disorder, even if they may not even know it, that you seek out support for yourself. There's so much that we do at the center to help loved ones, even if the person themselves isn't ready to help themselves. But I feel like if we can work together to keep talking about this and asking for help and guidance, that's a way better way to move people along in recovery.
Does this start in the doctor's office? Is this a conversation that may start there, or does it not necessarily where it will begin?
Well, I think it can, but I also think it can be missed so often because I think generally when people think about what eating disorders would look like, they think about, the number on the scale, what someone actually physically looks like. But what's going on in someone's mind is actually the bigger issue. And I'm not always sure that people go to their doctor's office and say, I think I have a problem. Usually they'll say, I'm doing all these great things with food and I'm trying to be healthy. And usually they'll get a good pat on the back and they'll be supported, not necessarily understanding that they're inundated with intrusive thoughts and rules and rituals. So sometimes it's the doctor, sometimes it's a teacher, sometimes it's yourself, sometimes it's your parent or your sibling or a friend. But what I would say is that if you're worried about someone, say so. I think that's a great opening to start bringing that to the surface.
And it sounds to me like the mental side of this is as much as much or more than the physical side, because if the mental is overtaking the, what your thoughts are, then that has an impact on the physical. So there's a bit of psychology here too.
Well, eating disorders are the most severe mental health issue because the intrusive thoughts and preoccupying thoughts is really at the core. It's sort of like noise in your mind constantly. And so making sure that we're addressing the fact that it is very much a mental health issue that shows up physically. Both of those pieces have to be worked through in order to be well.
Okay, listen, I really appreciate this conversation this morning. Kyla, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.